Mr. Speaker, today is a sad day for our Conservative family and for our parliamentary family. Our colleague and friend Jim Hillyer passed away very suddenly this morning, and I thank you for your kindness this morning. This has come as a shock to all of us who knew Jim and worked closely with him and was a friend. But most of all, Mr. Speaker, our thoughts and prayers are with his family, with his wife, Livy, and with his kids, who have these fantastic names, London, Taylor, Asia, and Nation. I spoke with her this morning, and she wanted me to pass along her thanks for all of the kindness. Jim
was a precious member of our team, and he was passionate about his work. I would also like to offer my sincere condolences to the family and those close to Jim.
In my speech, because Jim spoke very good French, and he was very proud of that. I know that the thoughts of every member of this House are with his family today, and I've heard from many of you. All of us have, and I want to thank you for your kindness. I want Canadians to know that Jim was so proud to represent his constituents from the riding of Medicine Hat, Cardston, Warner, and before that, the riding of Lethbridge, where he was first elected in 2011. Now, he described the job of being his MP as the job that he had wanted his whole life. But before being elected, Jim was an entrepreneur. Like so many Westerners, he was very proud to make a living in the natural resources sector. He also brought with him to Parliament an understanding and a great sympathy for the concerns of regular, hard-working Canadians, and it really showed. When you talked to Jim, it was like talking to a neighbor. It was clear that he loved his life, he loved his wife, he loved his community, and he loved his job. He was very open, very honest, and a very humble guy, and he had a goofy sense of humor. And you know, he was the kind of guy that you were proud represented you, and you felt you could approach. And he took his job very seriously. And as I said, he had a goofy sense of humor. He had something funny he said in the media recently. He was from Southern Alberta. That says something about him. And he was talking about Donald Trump. He was asked about his views on Donald Trump, and he said, well, where I come from is redneck, and we're not that redneck. He was a funny guy, but he was also a fighter. Many people here may not know, but he had faced and beaten leukemia earlier in his life, and he sought to help others by becoming a spokesman for the Canadian Cancer Society. A lot of us here know that he had a very serious ski accident, and after his ski accident, he hurt his leg quite badly. He had to use a little scooter. The kind of scooter that senior citizens use, but he was only 41, so we teased him a lot about that. And in fact, one of the House of Commons security guards, Frankie, told me this morning his memory of Jim was that he kept threatening to give him a speeding ticket for his scooter. There were a lot of issues that Jim was passionate about. Here in Ottawa, he fought for a stronger justice system. He sponsored some tough-on-crime legislation, and he was really passionate about keeping his community safe and respecting the rights of victims. Now, he worked hard, and he had a family, so he didn't have a lot of spare time, but he did have some hobbies. And when he was here, he used to play hockey with his MP colleagues, and he also volunteered for minor hockey back in his riding. At home, he was a very devoted dad, but he was also a music lover. I didn't know this myself because it didn't fit my view of Jim, but he was an amazing violin player. And he played in the Lethbridge Symphony, and he was even a singer. Some of you, I wanted to say, Mr. Speaker, some of you may have not had a chance to get to know Jim because you're new to the House, but that's okay. Your thoughts and prayers mean just as much to his family, so I thank you for your support on their behalf. Thank you to all of the MPs for the kindness that you've showed to those friends of Jim's in the House. In particular, Mr. Speaker, thank you for the arrangements that you've made for today. It's my hope that in the coming days, the pain that we feel will be replaced by the great memory of Jim as a friend and as a father and as a great public servant. This Parliament is better for having had Jim serve it, and we're better to have known him. So thank you to everyone for your kindness today.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
It is with great sadness that I speak today to pay tribute to the member for the riding Medicine Hat, Cardston Warner, Jim Hillyer.
I want to begin by thanking the Honourable Leader of the Opposition for her warm words and for her telling many aspects of Jim that will come as a surprise to many of us here, including myself. This is a moment where we should all reflect on the fact that we don't know each other as well as we should in this House. We learn of each other through comments made in the media, through speeches that we give or have to give in the House, but we don't often actually dig into the lives and the stories that each and every one of us bring to this place. And certainly if today's tragic experience, which we all share, of having lost a member of the family, is to have any positive outcomes, let it be that we do take a little more time in the occasions afforded to us, either on hockey rinks or soccer fields or after work in the watering holes around Ottawa, that we do take a little time to get to know each other a little more, because we are bound together, all of us, in service to this great country. Like all of us, I learned of Jim's death this morning with shock and disbelief. His youth and the suddenness of his passing have blanketed the Hill with a weighty sadness today. And I know that this heaviness will remain for quite some time. For while we sat on opposite sides of this House, we were all part of the same parliamentary family. We are all here, each and every one of us, in service to this great country, and that certainly was the case with Jim. He was a valued member of his party, a hard-working public servant, and a strong voice for his community. On se souviendra tous de la
We will
façon
all
dont il a servi
remember
les
how he
Canadiens
served Canadians
with
with great passion and conviction.
Jim's presence will be missed on the Hill today and all days. We will stand united and support one another in our grief. On behalf of the Government of Canada and all Canadians, I want to extend my deepest, most heartfelt sympathies to Jim's wife, Livy, and to their 4 children. Know that your husband and your dad served our country well. May you find strength in the faith that sustains you during the difficult days ahead. If this House and this country is made strong by the broad range of people and voices that serve it, then this morning we have certainly been diminished by Jim's passing. Repose en paix, Jim.
Peace, Jim. Member for Outremont.
Mr. Speaker, it was with great sadness that we learned today of Jim's passing, and it is with equal sadness that I rise today to pay tribute to that colleague of ours, Jim Hillyer, a husband, a father, and a parliamentarian taken from us far too soon. Catherine and I wish to extend our heartfelt condolences to his wife, Livy, and their 4 children.
Our parliamentary family is in mourning today following the passing of our colleague Jim Hillyer, and I want to express my very deepest condolences to his wife Livy and his 4 children.
Passionate in his political convictions, who enjoyed overwhelming support from his constituents. His voice will be sadly missed. He helped the people of his riding so well that his office was even honored with an award for exemplary service. And his remarks about that work are a tribute to his conviction that people matter. Politics, Jim said, can really be about making the world a better place. He was also given an Indigenous name by the Blackfoot Cultural Society, Api Stamik, meaning white buffalo bull, for his strong work with First Nations. Jim leaves behind a loving family, a legacy of hard-working public service, and a profound commitment to his faith. These are qualities that will define his memory in this place. On behalf of all members of the NDP, I want to extend our deepest condolences to his entire family, his constituents, and to every one of his Conservative caucus colleagues on this extremely sad day. He will be deeply missed, and may he rest in peace.
Honorable député de Rivière-du-Nord.
Honourable member for Rivière-du-Nord.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Comme chaque élu ici en
Like
cette
all of us
chambre,
here in
j'ai
this
été
House,
attristé
I
d'apprendre
was
ce
saddened
matin
to learn this
le décès
morning
du député
of the
de
death
Medicine
of the
Hat,
member for Medicine Hat,
notre
Cardston
collègue
Warner,
Jim Hillyer.
Jim Hillyer.
En mon nom personnel
On
et au nom
my
du Bloc québécois,
behalf and on
je
behalf
tiens
of
à
the Bloc
offrir mes plus
Québécois, I would
sincères
like to
condoléances
offer
à
my
sa
sincere
famille,
condolences
sa
to his
conjointe,
family,
ses 4 enfants,
his wife,
à
his
ses
4
proches,
children,
aux
his
citoyennes
loved
et aux
ones,
citoyens de
his
sa circonscription,
constituents,
ainsi qu'aux membres
and
de
the
son
members of
caucus.
his caucus.
Le décès de notre
The
collègue
passing of our
nous
colleague
rappelle l'aspect
reminds
profondément
us
humain du
of
travail que
how
nous
deeply
accomplissons en cette
human
chambre.
the work is that we do here
Derrière
in
nos
this
débats
House.
et nos rôles publics,
Behind our
il y a des
debates
êtres
and
humains
our public roles,
qui se
there are
réunissent
human
ici
beings who
pour
gather
débattre
here to
d'idées,
debate different
certes
ideas,
mais toujours dans
but
le respect,
always with
autour
respect
d'une valeur fondatrice
around an
incontournable,
essential
la démocratie.
value, which is that of democracy.
Hillyer nous a
Jim
quittés dans
Hillyer
l'exercice de ses
left us
fonctions,
in the
loin
exercise of
des
his
siens,
duties, far
en
from his
travaillant
family,
d'arrache-pied pour son
working
monde,
hard for
pour
his
sa
world,
région.
for his region.
Sincères condoléances
My sincere
à toute sa
condolences to his family.
Thank you, Jim.
The honourable member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to all colleagues here today, and particularly condolences to all my friends in the Conservative caucus. I was deeply affected by the words of the Leader of the official opposition as we adjust to the enormous shock of losing a friend and colleague, and I regarded Jim Hillyer as a friend. We worked together here, and thank goodness there are enough nonpartisan moments that I had the great pleasure of knowing him. I think his strong sense of duty is exemplified by the fact that he insisted on being here for Budget Day. And his commitment to this place and to his constituents is unquestionable. I don't need to trespass on your time very long. I think we share what the Right Honourable Prime Minister said. We in this place are community, and it would be good to know each other and love each other better. But we are bound together today, recognizing the inevitable, the fragility of life, the certainty of death, and for many of us, hope for a world to come and faith. All we can really do is hope that we have a life well lived in that blink of time allotted to us. And in this, our friend Jim Hillyer excelled. With his wife, Livy, with 4 beautiful children, London and Taylor and Asia and Nation. That family must know that we send them an enormous amount of love and condolence in this moment of their grief, which we share. Rest in peace, dear friend Jim Hillyer.